You're watching Fox 35 News Plus, streaming on Fox Local.
Well, good morning to you and welcome into Fox 35 News Plus. Want to get you inside this news conference going on right now in Tampa. This is Matthew Fodor. He's the special agent in charge with the FBI Tampa field office. Hearing from him right now, we just heard a moment ago from the U.S. Attorney Greg Kehoe. They're talking about the arrest of 12 members of a Lakeland-based gang, the Hood Boys. Now facing charges for PPP loan fraud. The allegations are that they basically made up businesses and business records, ended up getting tens of thousands of dollars in loans and spending it instead on cars, sporting goods, and jewelry. Let's go ahead and listen in as this news conference continues.
That there's representative from the Department of Labor is not here, but the Department of Labor participated as well. If I can just bring Tom Sylvester up from the Postal Service for a few words. Tom?
Thank you, sir. Good morning. My name's Tom Sylvester, and I'm the Assistant Inspector in charge for the Miami Division of the United States Postal Inspection Service, the law enforcement and security arm of the Postal Service. I would like to thank U.S. Attorney Kehoe, Assistant U.S. Attorney Buchanan, the FBI, the Lakeland Police Department, and our other law enforcement partners for their efforts to bring these individuals to justice for their crimes. These partnerships showcase a collaborative approach to leveraging the resources and investigative tools of many agencies to protect not only those in our local communities and state, but the rule of law. For 250 years, postal inspectors have tirelessly investigated those who would rob the public of the trust they place in the U.S. mail. It's difficult not to be angry about this case because it highlights the lengths to which criminals will go to defraud the government and every taxpayer to satisfy their greed. As my esteemed colleagues noted, these individuals saw dollar signs when they devised a scheme to steal funds Congress had allocated to help people in need during the unprecedented coronavirus pandemic. That was a time when the goal was, first and foremost, to assist those struggling to make ends meet during an economic shutdown and ensure businesses could continue to make payroll for their employees. Instead, these individuals took advantage of an opportunity to cheat the government by lining their pockets through false loan applications and other fraudulent acts. While many may believe this is a victimless crime, these scammers deprived potentially deserving Americans of critical funds when they may have been desperately needed, and degraded a system put in place to serve small businesses. If you're wondering why postal inspectors are here today, the answer is this crime involved the U.S. mail. When you use the U.S. mail to commit a crime, that brings the full weight and resources of the Postal Inspection Service to bear. This is a reminder to those who may believe they have escaped accountability for their crimes. Postal inspectors will relentlessly pursue those who undermine the rule of law, ensuring they face justice for their illegal actions. Though many years may pass, no person who attacks the U.S. mail or uses the mail to commit crime is safe from arrest and prosecution. Thank you.
One thing, ladies and gentlemen, I neglected to mention, the fraud just involved with these 12 individuals in these indictments is over $230,000 in a relatively short period of time. I just wanted to put that on the record. You can review that in the indictments that you'll have that are on public right now. I'd also like to bring up the Chief of Police for the Lakeland Police Department, Sammy Taylor, for a few words. Chief?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here this morning. This case started, I'm going to give you a little bit of history. The case started as an investigation into a criminal gang who operated out of the city of Lakeland, as you've heard here already this morning. On January 30th of 2023, we had a shooting that occurred within the city limits of Lakeland on Iowa Avenue and Plum Street, where a dark vehicle drove by and fired multiple shots, injured 11 folks. You may remember that shooting. It made quite a stir in Lakeland. 2 were injured critically. The shooting was believed to be a target attack and was linked to drug sales. Nothing to do with PPR. It was at the time a drug sale. Along with our many state, federal, and local partners, and with the hard work of many law enforcement officers and detectives, 2 of the principal suspects involved pled guilty to federal charges in connection with that shooting in October of 2023. Multiple other members were arrested for various drug charges, but the investigation didn't stop there, and which brings us to where we are here today. While furthering this investigation, investigators uncovered a large amount of fraud being conducted by this criminal gang, which leads us, as I said, to where we are in the group of men standing behind me today. While fraud cases take a lot of detailed behind-the-scenes work, we were certainly not deterred. I hope you have heard here today, and what we're telling you today sends a message to our folks in Central Florida that our local, state, and federal partners will continue to work together, and we work extremely well together, I assure you. Whether it's a shooting, gang activity, or fraud, we will investigate and work together to stop these far-reaching criminal activities. So on behalf of our officers at the Lakeland Police Department, the citizens of Lakeland, and myself personally, I personally want to thank U.S. Attorney for your involvement in this, Mr. Kehoe, the FBI Tampa office, the United States Postal Inspector, the Labor Department, and the Polk County Sheriff's Office, who helped us along the way as well, for their outstanding work and cooperation to bring this case to where we're at today. I'd also like to thank you guys, the media, for helping bring attention to this and highlighting some of the outstanding work that was done by some of the men and women in the Postal Service, the Lakeland Police Department, and the FBI. So again, thank you.
Can I ask you to clarify this? So this started with that shooting? Because I remember the shooting. It started there and then unraveled into this much more in-depth investigation.
That is correct.
Men and women,
Yes, that's correct. It's once the shooting was completed, detectives started to notice quite a few improprieties in some of the folks that were ancillary to this investigation, and which led them to make a phone call to our partners in the federal government and said, would you guys be interested? And to their credit, they said absolutely, and that brings us to where we are today.
So tell me about the gang, because obviously you've encountered them before. What kind of activities have they been involved in? What kind of people?
Drugs, shooting, typical gang stuff, drugs, shooting, narcotic sales, obviously, and now PPR fraud. I can tell you that's not something that we typically run across, but during the time, you'll remember, that was just prior to COVID, and this PPR happened before the shooting happened. So so when they found the details of that, they certainly made a phone call and led us to where we are today. So that's, as I said, you don't typically see that involved in street level criminal gangs, but you're seeing it today.
In your view, Chief, did they kind of understand that they could fund either their lives or their gang activity with this kind of fraud? I mean, did this become a main vehicle for them to keep all of this going?
Let me answer that, Chief.
Yeah, sure.
So this was just another method for them to line their pockets with money. That was really what it was. It was fraud from the outset. The applications that they filed with the SBA and the financial institutions, because this did go through legitimate financial institutions, they defrauded the financial institutions and the SBA, maintaining that they had businesses and payroll and had business expenses, and it was all not true. And so they got these short-term loans, which the federal government was giving out because we were in the middle of a pandemic and trying to keep the economy afloat. So that's what happened. But it was only with the work of the Lakeland Police Department, when they saw some of this evidence coming to fore after the shooting, they saw what's going on here with some of these financial improprieties.
Is this sort of a technique that you kind of are stumbling on here, that you can bust street-level gangs by going after their white-collar activity?
Well, you know, that's an interesting thing that you raise, because I have talked to Matt Fodor about this. I mean, I have done gang work for a long time, and we have seen a major evolution of gang criminal activity into the white-collar fraud area. So, not in this case, we didn't have identity theft so much, but we now have other gangs that have started to look at using identity theft as a method for defrauding any number of entities. Is it something that has come to the fore yesterday? No, but it's relatively recent, and I will tell you that it certainly was not the case when we were doing the traditional gangs of shootings, drugs, prostitution, etc. So it's a new day, and let's be perfectly honest. I mean, they have used it as a way to garner funds in a very efficient fashion. They were smart enough to do that.
You're knocking somebody off, I guess, of the street light. Chief, if I could just ask, if you could run through some of the people here. You know, obviously we're not familiar with these names, but for you, I mean, are these folks rank on this gang's hierarchy? And
These are individuals we are very familiar with and we have dealt with over the years. It's funny because once the names started coming to the surface, you go back in history and some of the folks that are in administration now work narcotics, and as they came up through the organization, they were dealing with either these folks individually when they were younger or in some cases, their relatives. So yes, we're very familiar with all these individuals that are involved. So.
How much of this gang is left? Just given this is enough,
Yeah, yeah. There's still other individuals that we're interested in, and I don't want to go into more details of that, but we're not done. We're not done. Yeah, go ahead.
Just on that score, I mean, first of all, as you can see from the 12 individuals, some are males and some are females. So some of them are actual gang members, some of them are associates. But this is just one chapter in our continuing investigation of this gang and other gangs throughout the Middle District of Florida. This investigation is not going to end with just this particular indictment. So, you know, I don't want to say wait and see, but wait and see.
Let me ask you, because occasionally we will see, drips and drabs of people being prosecuted even now for PPP loan fraud. I mean, this is something that originated in 2020. Is it taking so long to prosecute these cases or investigate these cases because there's a process by which they can repay these loans?
Of course.
And so you have to find out, are they fraudulent? And then how do you, where do we stand on that? Are there other investigations that may come to fruition as time goes on because of the time factors involved?
Without a doubt. I mean, the PPP loans, there is a shelf life on the loan. Some people got extensions on those loans, and you do have a period of time, and then there is a repayment period. Once the trigger point comes where you have to start paying them back. So they aren't defaulted right away. Most of these guys defaulted these right away, other than the ones that had asked for a forgiveness. But it's strung out over a several-year period until it came to the fore that this was all a fraudulent transaction, and there were no businesses, and there was no payroll. And as reflected from yesterday's search warrants, where we did searches on 11 different locales in the Lakeland area, we didn't find one business record. That only supports what the indictment that had already come down reflects, that there was no business, there was no payroll, and it was a scam from the beginning.
So would you expect to see more prosecutions, not necessarily of gangs, because that's kind of an interesting wrinkle, but of individuals or groups or entities that have requested these loans? Would you expect to see more prosecutions as time evolves?
We have done quite a few already, and we will continue to do them, but I don't think that's over by a long shot. This was a pretty expansive program going on a significant period of time, allocated millions of dollars of resources, as you know. So the answer to the question is yes. We will continue to see them rolled out, and we will continue to see them rolled out in other gangs and other places in the Middle District of Florida. That I can tell you.
Chief, what had prevented you from having other evidence to arrest these folks on other charges? How treated were they?
As far as what I'm going to here to tell you is that the investigation has not stopped with this. We finished this part of the investigation. The decision was made to bring this to the grand jury, and they obviously, voted to indict. But make no mistake that there is still an ongoing investigation in this area, and I just can't get into all the operational aspects of that, but it is. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
there,
you're
Chief.
fine. Yeah, you're good.
Do you want to say anything more about just how you drew the straight line from the shooting? Obviously, that got a lot of attention.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it speaks to the fact that that we're open to any criminal activity when they see it, and the detectives, to their credit, not only were looking at the shooting and trying to make a nexus between who we believe to be involved in the shooting, but they were also looking for other criminal activity, and they found this. That we didn't go into this shooting looking for PPR fraud. That's not the way that occurred. But when we found it, we certainly made a phone call to our federal partners, and they were like, absolutely, to the postal inspector and everyone else. So I think it's outstanding work, to be honest with you. I'm very proud of everybody that was involved. So.
Any other questions, folks? Thanks very much. Appreciate your time. Have a good weekend.
All right.
The U.S. Attorney, a number of other officials as well, answering questions about this gang investigation and the arrest of 12 people, 12 arrests, and they're not done yet. That's according to U.S. Attorney Greg Kehoe, talking about the arrests of 12 members of the Hood Boys gang, which is from based out of Lakeland in Polk County, arrested and charged with fraud for getting PPP loans during the COVID pandemic. They are accused of basically making up fake businesses and fake business records to get those loans that were meant to help keep people on the payroll as businesses had to shut down, make a number of adjustments during that pandemic. Instead, the officials, the attorney and the law enforcement officials we heard from today said they spent that money on cars, sporting goods, jewelry, all kinds of things, but not for business expenses, at least not like what they had said they were going to use it for in that the paperwork. And then when the time came to pay it back, they couldn't or didn't, and ended up defaulting on those loans. Also interesting to hear the U.S. Attorney talk about how it's a new day when it comes to gang crime and seeing really a major shift when it comes to gang activity kind of taking advantage of some of these white-collar crimes as well, not necessarily the things that you always think about. Well, we are just getting started here on Fox 35 News Plus, so we're going to take a break, but we've got a lot more to get to, so keep it here on Fox Local, and we'll be right back after this.